delivering gas.
Is that the Iron Nuts?
No.
Oh, it's an Algonquin Central boat? Oh, I didn't bring my lunch. Oh, well, anyway, we're good. That's one of
Next
the
time we'll bring them
Algonquin
on
Central.
others. I have them.
Okay, we are live on YouTube. Okay, the recording started and we have another minute. Then we can start the meeting.
And we're at four.
We are at quorum, so quorum now is 7 and we are good.
So,
I'll contribute online.
okay.
I think you should be here because you wanted to discuss the. The tree.
Maybe doors open. He did a tour last time. Did a solar eclipse he wanted to talk about.
That one, thank you.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Okay, so it is 12 o'clock. We will call the meeting to order. So I would like to acknowledge with respect that we are in Robertson Huron Treaty Territory, that the land on which we are gathered is the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe, known as Pewating. Pewating is the home of Garden River First Nation, Pachawana First Nation, and the historic Sault Ste. Marie. So if everyone would like to go around, we could do a little welcome. So just your name, sort of who you are, and maybe why you want to be on the committee. So my name is Nicole Curry. I'm the chair of the Historic Sites Board. I also work at the Sault Ste. Marie Museum, and I love history, so I want to help preserve our history here in Sault Ste. Marie.
My name's Tammy Johnson. I am an interior designer. I was born and raised in Sault Ste. Marie. And I have a passion for historical buildings and preservation, restoring, recycling, keeping the environment fresh and green. And I like to learn something new.
My name is Jamie Van Houten, and I've just been reappointed to the board. I was on it before. And I have a passion for history too, and
hi team.
well, sorry. And hi Alex. Yeah, I'm also on the library board, and I don't need to go into more details.
Hi everyone.
Who's on the library board?
I'm on the Jamie Van Houten.
Oh, hi Jamie. Yeah, it would be awesome if the Culture Heritage Committee could have like direct access to the archives.
Well, I'm working on a project I'll talk to you about later.
I'm Virginia McLeod. I'm the manager of recreation and culture, and I help support the day-to-day stuff with the Municipal Heritage Committee.
Virginia does it all.
Please, do you want to go next?
Sure, yes, I'm Lise Droyab. I'm a licensed funeral director at Mercy Funeral Home. I've been there for 29 years. So I've been in the Sioux for 29 years. I do also, as you said, enjoy old buildings and making sure that they all look nice. And Nicole introduced me to this. When I go back to my home town in New Hampshire and see the old buildings on what they've done, and the library was so beautiful, and now it's been moved to this other area, and they need to do so much renovations. And so anyways, I'm interested in all this, and I love projects. I love working on activities and different things like that. And my children are getting a little bit older, and I have less schoolwork to do, so I need another project. So here I am.
Emily, I think you're first up on the screen. I think you're on mute, Emily. No, not yet. While Emily's figuring out her sound, Alex will bump over to you, and then Emily, just raise your hand when you think you got it going.
Hey guys, Alex White. I'm a school teacher for the Algoma District School Board. Currently, I'm at Superior Heights in the intermediate program. I've been on the Heritage Committee for a few years now, since I moved back to town. I really enjoy the team, all the subcommittees, and just being part of the community in a way that preserves the cultural value, the heritage. My biggest thing is keeping the old buildings from being torn down, preserving that history, and being part of the process that allows that to happen. Thank you.
Sarah?
Hi, everyone. I'm Sarah Walker. I'm originally from the Hamilton area and moved to the Sioux a few years ago. In my work life, I work for a post-secondary institution as a projects manager and have previously served on Heritage Advisory Committee in another municipality prior to moving here. So in my personal life, I really appreciate cultural and built heritage and have been active in that for the last 15 years. Nice to meet everyone. Welcome to the new members.
Oh, wow, that's an awesome background.
Maddie?
Hi, everybody. My name is Maddie Buffano. I am an archives technician at the Shingwalk Residential School Center in Algoma U. Been on this committee for I think just over a year now. And I'm here just because of a interest in history and passion for built heritage and architectural heritage. So it's nice to meet all the new faces.
And Emily?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yay. So hi everyone, it's really nice to meet you. My name is Emily Boucher. I'm the HR manager for Northside Auto Group, so Toyota and Mazda here. I'm originally from the Sioux. I've lived here my whole life. I feel really fortunate to live somewhere with such a long and rich history. And I'm really passionate about preserving a lot of our really local, beautiful sites. So yeah.
Well, thank you, everyone. So to start off with, we will have an adoption of the minutes. So this is for anyone who was here last time. So that's pretty much just Sarah, Alex, and myself. Is there any issues with the minutes?
I just have one note, and I'm so sorry to be this person. But in the minutes from our previous minutes, some of them are written out our whole names, and other times it's just A White. So just to be consistent, if we could have one or the other, that would be wonderful.
Yeah, thanks, Sarah. I've asked them to get updated. They're put into the minute system, so we have an e-scribe system. So I've asked to get those corrected so that they're consistently across the board.
Thank you so much, Virginia. And I can move if we need to, because since I'm the only person, I think, other than Alex, who was there last time.
So, and be it resolved that the minutes of the Municipal Heritage Committee be approved as amended. So Sarah, you wanted to move, and a seconder.
Yeah, I can second.
Perfect, thank you, Alex. Now, are there any declarations of pecuniary interest? Nope. All right. And then can I have a motion to adopt the agenda? So does anybody want to add anything to it?
Yeah. In speaking with Virginia, Virginia, are we able to add the item regarding April 8th solar eclipse?
Would that be 8.4?
It would be Yeah, sorry, it would come under 7.3. Oh, sorry. 8, yeah, you're right, 8.4.
So under new business, 8.4, we have the solar eclipse.
Oh,
Okay. Anything else? All right, so can I have a motion to approve the agenda as amended? Jamie and seconded by Maddie. All right, so moving on to business arising. We have the elections of the chair and vice chair. So I will pass this over to Virginia.
Yeah, so, I'd like to open up the floor for nominations for the position of chair, for the Municipal Heritage Committee for 2024. If there's somebody to move and second that motion.
I would like to move to renominate Nicole Curry.
I would second that.
Okay. Okay, so nominations are open. So, and there was a nomination to nominate Nicole. I have to call 3 times. Were there any other nominations? And any other nominations? Seeing none, Nicole, would you accept the nomination? Yes. Okay, and were we gonna have Alex and Jamie move that nomination then? Or we can call, we can have other movers and seconders to whatever you. So the resolution that would be resolved that Nicole Curry, their chairperson of the Municipal Heritage Committee for 2024. And we need a mover and a seconder.
I can move that, Sarah Walker.
Sarah, thank you, Sarah. And somebody to second?
I could second.
And Jamie. Okay, now we're gonna open up the floor, mover and seconder. Resolve that the nominations be open for the position of vice chair of the Municipal Heritage Committee for 2024. And this is to open the nominations. And seconder, please. Jamie, thank you. Okay, the nominations are open. Are there any nominations for the position of vice chair? So Jamie has nominated Alex for the position. Are there any other nominations? Any other nominations? Seeing none, Alex, do you accept the nomination?
I accept the nomination.
Okay. Is there a mover and a seconder? Resolve that Alex White is declared vice chairperson of the Municipal Heritage Committee for 2024. Move. Cole's
I can
moved.
second, Sarah.
Sarah, thank you, Sarah. Okay, so I will turn it back over to Nicole.
Perfect. So just an update on the museum bell. And the last meeting I said that we had lost our conservationist. So they were scheduled to have 2 conservation projects. One was the museum bell and the other was the cenotaph. The cenotaph, it would be sort of like the first priority if they were to work on anything. So they are working on that, because that's already been all approved and everything. So if they, with their limited schedule, they'd be starting work on that. So even if they were to work on the bell, it would take a little bit. So that means that we would have to look at possibly getting it in another conservationist. However, in the meantime, Alex had approached Superior Heights to see about the tech program billing us a little carriage house for the bell. So that little carriage house will be a replica of what was on the roof. And so that will actually help to protect the bell from weather damage. So as the patina was damaged, the bell is now under more threat from environmental factors. So having that carriage house will help in the interim before us being able to get a conservationist in. So because the snow, rain, and all of that is starting to affect the bell. And then also that carriage house will sort of also help to provide a little bit of a buffer between that and vandals. So going forward, if we could maybe just look at working on that carriage house to start with, that would be a good first step.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Okay, so you did look at moving it indoors?
It's
Or too heavy?
it is sort of too heavy. There's not space available in the museum right now. And also, if you were to look at it moving inside, you would have to look for the equipment to do the moving process. And then also, once it is established in that position inside, you would have to have a structural inspection done to see if the floor could support such a load, and then if not, you would have to then make arrangements for that. So to move it inside, it's a lot more like finances that you would have to do, because you would still have to do the conservation work. Regardless, you're gonna have to do the conservation work.
Yeah.
So either like moving it inside or leaving it outside, it's gonna be the same conservation work, so that funding isn't gonna go down.
So my only remaining question
Yes.
is, I think the problem is the bell is on the sidewalk, and I wonder if anyone has looked at lifting it, having it hang from something high so that it can't be reached by a spray can.
And that would then still introduce a whole structural issue of you wouldn't be able to see the writing that is on the bell, saying that it was constructed there. You can't bring it because it is a historic artifact. We would not want to then sort of put it in use, because as you use the bell and you are sounding it, would then be with the damage of it being repeatedly hit by with the metal clay in the middle. It would then cause damage. We can actually see damage like that happen with the Centennial Bell in Philadelphia. It has a huge crack in it that they had to repair. So by using the bell and having it like that, you would cause damage. So you would have the expenses of raising it to having the proper structural support so that it would be sturdy and sound. Then you would have to buy a new clang for it because it does not currently have one. That one was removed. And then you would have to do a lot more sort of inspections with that bell to make sure that the damage is not occurring. And as you are using it, you would have to do a lot more conservation work to deal with the factors of the issues of it being repeatedly struck, because there is all that vibration that would happen to the artifact that would cause.
There is a bell in Halifax at Pier 21 that people can ring, and it's a huge draw, you know, like the lifting the candle in the house.
There would also be like other safety issues with that too, because what if a kid like goes in there and they get hit with it? So there's a lot more insurance issues.
It's high enough up, like nobody will be able to reach. Right? Anyway, but if it can't be,
You would have to have structural engineering completed, because you have to have fairly deep footings in order to look at having that raised.
yeah,
So
you'd
if
have
we're
to
gonna raise it,
steel beams and the whole
Yeah,
the
and
structure
then
would have to
still
be.
be looking at having to have some type of potentially a cover over it, which is then going
Well,
to
you're still- yeah,
obscure
you're
the
not
building too
protected
as well,
from-
right? Because
Yeah,
you
but it-
block a lot of the.
I mean, having it at sidewalk level doesn't solve the problem then.
But with the carriage house, it would. Because because they could vandalize the carriage house. The carriage house is not a historical artifact.
No, I know, but then you've got a carriage house that is an eyesore.
But it would be a historically accurate build. So it would be a replica of the
I
actual
know,
carriage
but it
house.
would still be covered in graffiti.
Well,
repeatedly.
but that graffiti would be easily removed because
Would it? Okay.
because removing it with the historic belt, we have to follow conservation standards to remove it. Removing it from the carriage house, it would be an easy.
Right, just to add one piece, just for the rest of the committee who has only the first. One of the items that was discussed was that the carriage house would be there, but then also doing some type of plexi enclosure to really protect the bell from future vandalism. So we'd have that kind of case built around it so that they can't get in and continue to tag the bell, which has been one of the major issues. So there's two components. There's the tagging, which is the vandalism, which we want to prevent, and then also the weather damage that's happening. And you can see some of the corrosion and some of the that is happening to the bell as well. So it's trying to address those two pieces, just to kind of keep it preserved. But we'd also be maintaining, areas where you can still have airflow that'll go in. And staff will be able to still get into the space if they need to do any touch-ups or clean any leaves or debris that blows around. They're trying to look for solutions that are within a budget, because as of right now, there are no funds to address the project. And trying to keep it within that space, because there are not a lot of grants available to even address this as well.
So there is a bell at Bellevue Park, isn't there? Behind the greenhouse?
There's there's an old ship bell and there's some old ship artifacts that are out there. I'm not sure what the construction of that
Like
is.
would they not have the same environmental and?
But the patina was damaged. Like there was cleaning done on the bell that was not approved by the museum staff. And that cleaning actually removed the patina and damaged it. So the bell as it was, if it was not cleaned, that original graffiti would have been very easily removed and we would not be in this situation.
But
But
I just
because
wondered, like the current location of that bell is probably, right, it's on sidewalk level. And it's
But
on Queen Street.
but people
So if you
really like-
relocated it somewhere that
so,
isn't Queen Street and that isn't.
but people like to see the bell. The bell, it was from the museum. So the bell, like the original idea from the Municipal Heritage Committee was to sort of put the bell back at the museum and in front of the museum.
I know, and here we are.
Yeah.
And I don't see, I have a concern that you're going to continue spending money you don't have repairing a bell that is constantly vandalized.
But if we repair it once, put the carriage house on, that'll be done because it will be protected.
And the carriage house, you can get materials that are anti-graffiti. You can specify different materials that are anti-graffiti or stuff like that.
And we would be able to clean it ourselves.
Yes.
So because the
Oh,
carriage house,
museum stuff?
yes, because the carriage house is
Okay.
not historical artifact, it's super easy to clean with just
With
graffiti
whatever,
remover.
yeah.
We could not use that graffiti remover on the bell.
No, I get that. I just,
It's just also to jump
Good
in
luck.
a little bit, to Nicole's point, we wanted to, in the previous committee, wanted to make sure that that connection between the artifact and the building was there so that people could see and understand the story of that building. The other piece is if we did move it into another park space or other area off Queen, it still will be susceptible to vandalism because we are addressing that throughout a number of our areas on a consistent and constant basis.
Yeah, I'll bet you.
So unless we create the carriage house and put some plexi or something protected, no matter where we move it, we're going to encounter that issue, I think.
I wouldn't move it just because of the location bad right now, because it could change in 5 years. Could be a bad location somewhere else. It could be a target.
And we are finding other things are targeted as well throughout the committee, or throughout the community. The city has created a graffiti committee again. So that's something that the graffiti committee is going to be looking at different things and processes and ways that we can address it because the amount of graffiti has escalated.
So the main thing that we would like to know right now is, can we look at moving forward with building the carriage house? can we look at allocating maybe about $600 for the construction of a carriage house to protect the bell while we're waiting on like funding for conservation work to happen. Because the longer we wait and the longer we do nothing, the more damage will occur, the more costly the repairs will be. If we don't do anything, the bell will completely deteriorate and it will be anything. We'll lose that artifact. Yeah, so Alex, do you know if we did any, like if we sent the approval, would the school still have time to build it this year?
It's my understanding that, yeah,
Oh.
we could, if the approval could come this year, then we can have it done by the end of the school year on June 30th.
And it would also sort of be nice if it could be built by the students, and then we could have like another little plaque beside, like saying that it was built by the Superior Heights. Kids.
Yeah, they would make the Superior Heights logo, the emblem, the moniker, and with the year and the supervisory teacher in charge. Yeah.
So as for funding, where are we thinking?
So as it's the sort of $600, could we then use it from our sort of grant thing? Or is there-
So, yeah, so I don't know if, so the last, a couple meetings ago, we were looking at various funding options. So, and there was some discussion between myself and the curator at the museum, looking at, you know, kind of the responsibility of, you know, who's kind of taking the lead and going to be paying for those aspects of it. Will did point out that the bell technically is owned by the city, which means the city cannot apply to its own granting fund. So that means that we have $12,000 a year that we're allowed to allocate to heritage properties. So since the city's the owner, we would not have the funding. So the option is to request that that funding come out of the capital allocation. So we oversee and take care of doing capital renovations at the museum. So we would have to request that those funds come out of that capital allocation.
Now, Will's issue before, for applying for the grant, yes, was that the city, owns it, but also it was the fact that the costs for the repairs would have exceeded that, the funds available for the grant. So now that we're looking for the carriage house, we could look at the museum applying as the steward of the bell. Would that work?
Well, after we had those initial discussions, I did have further discussions with their finance department. And the concerns and, you know, I do agree is there is such a limited pot of funds that we don't want to be taking away those funds from other. And since that dialogue has established, you know, really the ownership resides with us versus, so we need to, I would need to go to council or request that funding be reallocated to this project, because the funding in every budget year is, there's a request for funds to do certain capital projects, and then they identify those capital projects. This may be covered off, because they talk about the building repairs and renovations, so it's not as specific, so I just have to confirm that that's there. If the funds are there to pay for it, I think ultimately we wouldn't need to wait to the next meeting, as long as the city passes a resolution approving the addition of a replica carriage house.
Could we also look at approaching some places like Sioux Mill and stuff like that, and seeing if they would be willing to donate some supplies, so that way that would reduce the cost?
Yep, I can have to.
I'm gonna say $600 may be a little bit rough.
Well, my dad actually, he said that if we're constructing, the carriage house with, based on the sizes, based on the actual construction of it, these are all the materials that we would need, and so that it went out to 5 something, so that I just sort of rounded it up to the 6. So based on that, that's, what it would have, and then, the school has all the tools necessary to do that construction. So we already, sort of, like planned out all the materials that we would need. So that's how we're sort of going based on that number. Yeah. The only number that would be another variable would be the plexiglass. But if we can, maybe get a lot of those supplies, donated, then that 600 could still be left for hopefully the plexiglass.
Alex, did the teacher, able to provide an exact list of materials that they wanted? I know the museum put a pretty detailed list together. If we have that detailed list, I can start trying to see where we can get those materials from to proceed.
Yeah, I've I've requested a detailed list. What he was able to tell me from last time was he will be able to do it a little cheaper than the quote. And I'll try and get a more exact quote with the list of materials from their end, and then I can send that to you. Does that work?
Yeah, that'd be great. And then I can try to work on securing those materials so we can move forward with the carriage house.
Excellent. Okay. Thank you.
So we would just need a motion that the committee's approving the addition of the carriage house, replica carriage house to protect the bell. And then we can work on the second steps after that.
Okay. All right, so if we can have a motion to approve the addition of the carriage house to the museum bell. Right there.
So yeah, I have resolved that Municipal Heritage Committee approve the addition of a replica carriage house to protect the museum bell be approved.
Can I have a mover
I can move that.
and a seconder?
Please. All in favor?
All in favor? Sarah, Emily, good?
Good.
I'm good, thanks.
Okay, perfect, thank you. All right, so now we are moving on to the subcommittee and task force updates. We have the heritage trees, and we are still trying to look at getting everybody on the same page so that we can have a meeting. So we will keep you updated with that as it goes forward.
We did heritage trees.
So with the heritage trees, we have this new project that we're looking at doing. It's preserving trees of historical significance here in Sault Ste. Marie. So trying to look at what trees are like historically significant to this area. I know we have, I think there's the one tree at the old stone house that was planted by the Queen or one of the other royals. Then there was a tree planted by Edith Cavell. So there's a few trees sort of like that, but is there any other trees that we would look at trying to sort of preserve? So we're forming a committee that will then begin investigating this.
Yeah, and we did try, I think we had like 4 or 5 doodle polls.
Yeah.
Trying to land on a meeting date, so we'll probably try to tackle that again. I don't imagine it's going to be too many meetings, because there is a fairly good inventory of trees. We've also pulled an individual that worked at Oaktree or through ministry for quite a long time and has a lot of background in trees there as well to help provide some guidance, as well as our Parks and Horticulture Department, who have a complete inventory of the city-owned trees. So yeah, so we're just looking to see which ones may meet the designation criteria, and then looking at moving forward for having to, recognize those established them. Currently, the city doesn't have any trees that are listed on the Ontario Registry, but taking a look to see what candidates do exist.
So moving on to new business, we have the doors open. So with the doors open, we have done it virtually in the past. And there has been some people who've participated, so, the criteria for that is getting a little bit more, strict. It has to be, more specific virtual programming than some of the stuff we already have there. So that will become a little bit more, tricky to try to coordinate with, all the, participants. And then if we were looking at doing the doors open in person, there is the, registration fee, which is, $1,500. And with that $1,500, that is just to register. That doesn't include the cost of marketing, getting these supplies, so making sure that we have handouts for people, everything that we'll need to sort of run the actual event. So this event could get fairly costly. I know there has been questions about applying to a tourism grant. If we apply for the tourism grant with the city, I don't know if we would actually be able, because we are the city. So I don't know if we can sort of dip into our own pot. But also, I don't know how much tourism the doors open would actually bring. So it might not be a good candidate for that. And then to try to push the museums locally to try to do more, because if we look at our heritage properties, most of them are homes, private homes, so they would not be able to participate. The ones that would mainly be able to participate are like the Bush Plane, Old Stone House Museum, and that's,
Machine shop.
yeah, sort of like the,
Churches, like,
yeah, main ones that could be able to participate. And for them to have to create an event, help us create an event that would be a strong enough draw for tourism, it might be very hard for them to try to coordinate as well, because I know a lot of concerns have been brought forth by those people in the past, saying that they don't really have the capacity to do another event in terms of volunteers, staffing, things like that. So this could be a very tricky event, and as it is sort of costly, not sure necessarily it's the best step that we can go, just in terms of maybe how we spend our money. There was another item that could be a little bit better, which is the next item on the list, which is the heritage property booklets. It would kind of be sort of like the same with the doors open. It's the doors open, but in a booklet form. So you would have all the properties, all the homes. This one was done in 2000, so there's many new additions. And so having something like that, so people could then learn a lot more about the properties, because we still get people coming in and asking for these heritage property booklets.
Just to jump in a little bit, one of the things that we were trying to do for Heritage Week, which had just passed a couple of weeks ago, was we have a staff person that has quite strong skills in doing some videos. So one of the things that we were trying to coordinate to get a video done was an actual tour of the inside of the conservatory, so that we could start to build our inventory of actual video tools that we do have available, so that as these events come up, we actually do have some really good content that we can continue to roll out and participate in some of these digital type events. One of the things that we could do that's kind of a blend of this is look at the brochure, but then also see if there's a way that we can incorporate some historical tours, getting into some of the properties that we might showcase during the doors open, but doing that during culture days, because it's a really nice tie to culture days in September and October.
Yeah.
And then we can gradually start to build our repertoire so that we're able to really look at hosting a doors open down the road or do the digital doors open, because we've got enough of a critical mass of content that we're able to utilize for those events. Right now, I think we're falling short because we only have a few videos. One of the other options, it's too late this year, but looking at, is there a way that we could partner with Sioux College? They have oh my goodness, which program is it where they actually learn how to do all of the
Yeah, the digital media.
digital media. Yeah, so we work with the graphic design program right now, but they do have students that are learning how to film. You know, is that one of the projects that maybe those classes might take on, is going into these spaces and helping create as part of their coursework tours for us, right? So we would have to provide some scripts, some guidance for each of the properties, and then they actually go and create those videos for us. So that may be a really nice partnership to be able to get those videos created. Because right now I think we've got some, a little bit for the Old Stone House, the museum, bushland. So I think we've only got a couple. But it'd be nice to build that over the next year so that maybe we go from 2 to 6 and gradually continue to increase that inventory.
The doors open would be a one-day thing, or
Sometimes it's like a 2-3 day thing. It's sort of just over a couple days, like on a weekend or something.
So when we did doors open 2 years ago, the feedback was, well, there was a lot of feedback, long story, but the feedback was not to do it the way we did it 2 years ago. The dates were wrong. We picked a Friday, Saturday, and so the whole issue of the day of the week that the weekend is better.
Yeah.
That feedback from that event that was in person was that about 17% of the attendees were from out of town, which was like a huge draw for tourism potentially. So if you were going to apply, I spoke to Brent Lamming after the council meeting a couple weeks ago, and he thought it would be okay to apply for the tourism development fund because the check would be written to the Ontario Heritage Trust, not the Municipal Heritage Committee. So that would be a different agency that you're paying for the event.
But then we would still have to find the money to do all the marketing and everything else.
So we did that
important.
to you.
But 2 years ago, it was free. And we
Well,
were
1,500 was free, but we still paid.
we were sort of able to scrounge up some funds, but it was sort of a little bit difficult. And as we were working in sort of COVID times, we didn't have as many grants coming in, so we had a little bit bigger pot of money, didn't we?
We have, so operating budget wise for these types of activities, have an allocation of $1,955 a year. So that covers off any legal searches, PIN searches, anything we have to do when we're looking at properties. So anything related to committee operations, and then any of the smaller projects, printing, those types of things that we'd like to do based off of some of the projects we have. And then we have the grant pot, which is separate from that. So yeah, so I think it would just be depending, are we eligible? So we could confirm that because we still are the applicants, right? They're not making the application. We'd have to run the numbers. So we could say the total number of attendees was X, 17% were here's our postal code. So I could have that quick conversation to see. A big piece of it though is making sure we have the resources.
That would be worth it.
Right,
Because to know for future.
Yeah.
Future reference.
Mhm.
What my long-term goal here is not to have the doors open every year because that's too much of a volunteer commitment and too much spending and too much work. But the digital last year was a mistake because there were no new videos. So Ontario Heritage Trust believe me, is not going to let you do that 2 years in a row. I was getting a fair amount of emails from, well, anyway, I won't say it, but if my goal here would be to set up a working group and that needs to have this whole conversation about, are we doing it in 2025? Is it a hybrid of, and then if we find out the answer to that question about the tourism, because like the bush plane got.
Well, but if we just go with Virginia's idea of sort of almost doing it by ourselves, not going with this, the Ontario Trust Doors Open, but having our own sort of local doors open as part of cultural days. Cultural days would be that one that would help us to boost the event and have that, so that way it's more of this local thing that of a project where
You could do both. You can have the doors open during culture days and it's part of the culture.
Can I make it?
Isn't that what we did last time?
We did, yes.
Yeah.
So just from a resourcing standpoint, what if we took an approach where you have a working group that's going to look at 2025 as a potential doors open actual
like that.
date? This year, we work on creating some events, some tours, maybe launch the brochure, you know, get the walking tours out and have a few things during culture days. So that, you know, we don't need 70 volunteers. We can, you know, utilize the volunteers that we have on the Heritage Committee, or maybe they take the lead on doing these tours. We continue to highlight it. The working group can reach out to see if Sioux College wants to partner in developing more videos so that we could actually have a good lineup of content for a potential 2025
Yeah.
event.
The
Does
word,
that
yes.
approach make sense?
Okay.
Anybody
I
on
like
the
that
screen?
idea.
I was envisioning your videos to be like a QR code in your booklet.
That'd be great.
Yeah, I think that maybe modernizing the booklets a little bit would be nice.
Yes, they were made a long time ago.
I figured.
I can't get it
Yeah,
out of the program.
putting in little QR codes and stuff like that, and make it a little bit more fun too.
Well, and if the working group's done, that can be one and the same project, right? So if we updating the content in our booklets and looking at that whole creation, how we highlight those properties.
Sorry, hi, Alex here. If we're looking at modernizing, I love the idea of QR codes, but maybe could we like specify what defines our vision of modernization in the heritage booklets, and maybe we can look to other municipalities for examples. And without reinventing the wheel, what do we like about our booklet so far, which I actually do love, but what would be cool to see updated that would interest maybe a more millennial crowd, and just generate more interest?
I know a lot of people really like the pictures that are in it, so with the pictures, we could add more. So maybe a historical photo of the building and a modern photo would be nice to see. And I was even talking with Will, and there would be like a possibility of us collaborating so that we could use the archives at the museum to add a lot of the photos and the historical information in there, so that we could sort of like add a little bit more to like what's here. So adding more information on, maybe say if we have something with like Eastbourne, adding more about like the history of like why it's significant, like the who owned it, why are they significant. So that could be other things to add.
And one of the pieces we do have online, and I have a bunch of information to some of the new committee members, is if you do go into the heritage pages, there is an interactive map, and when you click on the interactive map, it'll actually take you to that property some photos of it, some older photos, recent photos, as well as the designation report. There is additional information that I would love to add in if there's more information in the archive, so we can continue to build the information for each of those properties.
I love that, Virginia and Nicole. And so I guess with that QR code, maybe an updated piece for the new booklet could be the QR code on the individual heritage property that would then take you to the digital archive that Virginia's speaking about. And then, that way we could honor all the efforts that have been put into the digital archive for the city. So we've got that, tangible booklet that if you want, you could take out your phone and scan the QR code to get a little deeper into that property if you're interested in that particular property.
Like if we're doing videos, I'm thinking like going inside the buildings, like seeing that from the QR code. And then again, sorry if you feel I'm pushing it, but I feel it should probably be bilingual or.
Just and an FYI with the QR codes, super easy, super proficient. We use them all day in the classroom. Like the kids know how to do them. We know how to do them. And I believe you can generate them for free, which is pretty cool.
Yes, and there's even programs where you can have trackers. I don't know if that's something the city already has, like, because there are some programs where you can track how many people are scanning the QR codes. I don't know if that's something that you might have already.
They're likely doing it on communications for the different ones where we actually have existing QR codes.
So yeah, you guys might have something already in place that can help with that, like even being able to make them and tracking them so that it also follows like like the city already has set in place.
Oh, sorry, there was a hand up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know whether these buildings are on the spot?
No, there are some of them that are on the spot because like with the Old Stone House, the museum,
Right.
it's along the walk. And the canal, the like the whole canal district is there because it's on the walk.
Right.
So the on the spot are the ones that are on the walk. Another thing that would be, we have been looking into is adding another on the spot tour. So if we added another one, we could look at doing a historical properties one where you could actually do like a drive around the city and go to the home.
Oh, does that cost money?
Yes.
Okay. So then that would be another thing, like instead of doors open, this is something that is like permanent as well, and would be a really interesting thing for people to use because we do boost on the spot a lot at the museum and people seem to really like it.
Yeah, and it's depending on the number of spots that changes the cost, so it varies. I don't know what the current price is. Here's 7,500. Right?
Yeah.
I think it was a couple thousand to add some additional spots into one of the tours. So a creation of a new tour.
But it's all, that price could also change because we did the whole big setup of it. So maybe just adding another like strand of, because like we have 3 or 4 walking tours or something like that. And so we did the whole thing of getting all that set up. So maybe adding in like a 4th or a 5th one, whatever, won't be as costly because Sault Ste. Marie is already set up, it's already established. So it would just be adding that extra route in.
Would you have, is there an option that volunteers could do that or would it cost that?
Well, we could, it's the photos, but also just getting the on the spot to help, like.
Yeah, they create all the content, so on the spot is a company and they do tours across Canada, all over the place.
Oh, yeah.
Like Toronto. There is a bit of a cost savings, I think, if you're able to provide the photos so that they don't have to come here. Initially for the first one, they did come on site, so I think Nicole's right that it's probably less than that because they had to come on site. They took a lot of the photos and was the first one, so an additional tool would probably be less, and if they don't have to come up to take the photos, that'll impact.
And
pricing.
then as it's all our heritage properties, we're gonna already have all these pictures for the booklet. That would be less, because it'd be like, here's all the properties, here's all the info,
Yeah.
here's all the pictures.
Yeah.
So the
And,
ones-
and sorry, we should have pictures from, like, there are going to be new designations in the updates, and then there's ones that are taken off too, right?
well, so we have the properties that are on the register, which are ones that aren't designated yet. So the
Yeah.
ones that are on the register are the ones that are at risk of being removed because of the new processes from
Yeah.
Ontario.
Yeah.
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 So all the ones that are designated are ones that are like safe. They're not gonna be removed unless, like, say for instance, somebody like that owner of the property specifically asks for it to be removed.
Yeah,
Would be
or
the
some-
only thing kind of like that.
Yeah, draft.
Well, like, yeah, well, that, which has happened recently. Yeah.
No, we was maybe in discussions for, the-
Algoma District School Board.
Oh, that was to be listed on the register. That
Oh,
was
yeah.
not a designation.
Okay.
The designations have
Thank you.
Dealer protection.
So we would only be adding the actual designated properties and not the ones that are on the register.
Gotcha.
Okay.
So question, do we want to look at forming a working group, and who would like to be involved with that?
I would like to be on that if, oh, yeah, got a good team. Well, and I did just get an email from Jamie. Like, I know Nicole has the archives at the museum, and I think we would also benefit from Jamie's access to the archives at the library.
Okay, so I have a resolution drafted, so resolve the Municipal Heritage Committee create a task force to assist in the development of a new heritage property booklet and development of video tours. And further that, Alex White, Nicole Curry, Tammy Johnson, sorry, and Jamie Van Hafton be appointed to the task force.
I think of this one.
These two, I'm sorry, that's okay, be appointed to the task force. And I need a mover and a seconder.
I'll move something.
And anyone else? Maddie, perfect.
Okay, all in favor? Okay. Very good. Okay, so next, we are looking at the, replacement of the roof at the National Historic Site. So they are replacing it this year, so yay, very exciting. And so we just need a motion, to approve this. So it will be that, the Municipal Heritage Committee approve the replacement of the cedar shaped roof with western red cedar shapes, along with the addition of structural work inside the attic as outlined in the specifications be approved. So if anyone has any questions about the project, or if not, can I have a motion?
I have a question, are they applied for the grant?
They're, no,
Like from us?
no,
Okay, that's one question.
Yeah, it's because this is a designated property, we have to approve those changes just because it would like saying that yes, you can change it and as so that it will help to keep with the historical aspect. So just as you normally have to do with this the designated properties. Are we still in forum?
No, we lost one.
Okay, so we will keep this table for the next meeting. So we will approve that at the next meeting.
So, yeah, so we have to adjourn due to lack of quorum. So
Uh-oh.
this will be carried forward to April.
Okay.
Thanks,
All right.
Alex.
Thank you, folks.
Bye.